As a law enforcement officer, I attest that my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all persons to ensure liberty, equality, and justice.
Welcome to Gainesville PD On Duty, the show that takes you behind the badge of the Gainesville Police Department. My name is Officer Ben Tobias, and I'm the spokesperson for the agency. On today's episode, we take a ride-along with one of our newer officers. Then we spend some time with our Youth and Community Services Division to see how they are helping local youth during the summer. Finally, we take a look at a recent operation where detectives went looking for gas pump credit card skimmers. GPD is proud of the men and women that serve the community as GPD officers. We are lucky to have so many talented, unique personalities. We recently did a ride-along with one of our newer officers that has quite a large personality. Officer Brooke Shutterly has only been a Gainesville police officer for less than a year, but she constantly receives kudos and messages of support from the community. Let's ride along and see why.
My name is Officer Brooke Shutterly, badge number 962. I work in Juliet Zone for the Gainesville Police Department. Work on the Alpha rotation on day shift from 7 a.m. to 6:25 p.m. I like working this shift because I have a lot more opportunity to interact with citizens. There are a lot more people out during the day, so you get to really get a feel for the people in your zone and really get to build a lot of positive relationships with people. You know, even in the areas that are deemed kind of rough, you can still get along with people, you can learn how to work with them, and you can just build that rapport so that, you know, if you ever have to go out there, they don't see you as an enemy. So it's really nice to actually get that with people and be able to build that trust in the community. I actually got into law enforcement on kind of a whim. I initially applied to the Gainesville Police Department to get a feel for the process. But it kept moving forward, and I thought, hey, you know, this is actually something that I'm really interested in. So I enrolled in the police academy, and while enrolled, I was able to secure a position with the Gainesville Police Department and worked my way through the academy, graduated, got right to it on the road, and, you know, it's been everything I ever hoped. We are going to 3533 Southwest 24th Ave in reference to a couple of homeless people who are just kind of hanging out and concerning people. So we're going to go make contact with them, see what their story is, see if they have a good reason to be there, and if not, we'll try to get them going on their way. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi there. How are you doing today? We got a call about you guys kind of hanging out and people were concerned. What's going on today?
I'm just sorry, just laying down.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like it's about to storm. You may want to find somewhere with some shelter.
Definitely glad to do that.
Yeah. Do you happen to have any ID on you, sir? I have lived in Gainesville pretty much my whole life. I grew up in Micanopy, but I've been going to school in Gainesville. You know, my whole life has more or less been here. I went to PK Young for elementary school, Howard Bishop for middle school, and Gainesville High School for high school. Went to college at Santa Fe. You know, I've definitely been a long-term resident and know a lot about the city, know a lot about the people. Take your time, wake up, get on your way. I'm gonna drive back by here in about 10-15 minutes. Hope that you guys have gone by then, all right? All right, you have a good one. To Phoenix Apartments in reference to a DCF investigation because I was called as backup for another unit.
These have allegations of like family violence.
We were there for a DCF investigation where a mother, father, and the father's mother were involved and were fighting each other. I was called as 38, which is backup for Officer Madsen because the father has a warrant out of Ocala and he is known to be violent. However, when we arrived, the father was not on scene. So after an initial investigation that kind of showed that the kid was safe, Officer Madsen told me that I could go 10-8 and be available for other calls.
Just because we going through it, you right. I pack my Xbox up, put it in the bag. I bring it over here. I'm knocking on the door. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's standing at the window talking about go away, but you text me this.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to be a man. That's all I want. Just drop off the Xbox and I'm gone. I don't want no problem.
Yeah.
I ain't on that.
A domestic disturbance. Mr. Mitchell was knocking on his ex-girlfriend's door, trying to drop off an Xbox for his kids, and the girlfriend was not particularly interested in speaking to him at that time. So she called us out because she was concerned with what was going on. And so we showed up. We just acted as mediators for the situation to make sure that nothing else happened and to just kind of help him calm down and see that it might be in his best interest to just let things be for now. I would contact the civil courthouse and look into getting a custody agreement started just so that when you want to see your kids, you can. Because without a custody agreement, neither of you are protected. But having that custody agreement, it'll mean that, you know, she can't just up and say, oh no, you can't see your kids, that's not okay, you know, you need to leave. Honestly, I really like my coworkers. Like Officer Madsen, the officer that we've been working with a lot today, she's one of the Southwest units that I get to work with a lot, and she's always really positive, really nice to work with. Some of my other officers I work with, Officer Myers, Officer Davis, Officer Bryce, we met Officer Munn earlier. You know, they're all just really helpful, really supportive, and it's really nice to have just a team of people that you can work with and you can trust. And just that, and also the community itself, you know, people in Gainesville are, for the most part, very nice and easy to work with, and it's just nice to have a community that you feel appreciates it when you help them. Gainesville Police! Growing up in Gainesville, you definitely get a feel for the city. I definitely have a much larger understanding of the type of people that live in Gainesville, whether it be students, professors, people who are traveling, you know, immigrants. It's a very diverse area, and you know, you just get to meet and experience a lot of things. It's my duty and my job to protect people's rights, so I try to interact with everyone in a positive way and ensure that I can keep them safe, protect their rights, and just allow them every opportunity as an American citizen.
I'm proud to work alongside people like Officer Shutterly. Even though she is a brand new officer, she has figured out how to interact with the community in a very positive way. After the break, we will visit with the Youth and Community Services Division to learn about a summer program. Gainesville PD on duty. We'll be right back.
I will maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule. Develop self-restraint and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. Honest in thought and deed in both my personal and official life, I will be exemplary in obeying the laws of the land and the regulations of my department. Together, as a community, we foster order, safety, and freedom.
Welcome back to Gainesville PD on duty. Last month, we showed you a success story from our gang investigators. Those investigators are part of a team of Youth and Community Services Division. They are currently working with local teens in what's called the HEROES program. The program aims to help and empower, assist them in rebuilding, overcome, educate, and succeed. This is the third year the program has been in place. Both boy and girl teenagers are involved in everything from life skills to job interview practice and even etiquette training. The program has been a definite success in recent years, and past participants have told officers how much the experience has meant to them. Let's visit with the HEROES program and see what it's all about.
This summer, we have kicked off our HEROES program for the third year in a row now. The HEROES program started the summer of 2015. Working with middle school age students this year, so we have 10 middle school age young girls and 10 middle school age young boys. On Mondays and Wednesdays, we have our girls, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have our boys. It's 7 weeks planned out. We do this program, and we've been doing this program because it matters. Our youth are starting out at a very young age now and trying to get involved in gangs. And I think, because we're missing a lot of resources and outlets for our youth nowadays, the one thing they look to is their peers. So we have to step in at an earlier age, which is why we're working with middle school kids this year versus high school. So we have to get these kids plugged in so that we can keep them on the right track. And even if they, made a mistake and they have gone down the wrong path, we want to step in as much as we can to try to, make them feel that, look, you have support. It's not too late to start over, and you can do this. The first week we kicked off with our Heroes basketball camp, and it wasn't so much about basketball. It was really just to get these kids to understanding, how it feels to be coached, to have some discipline, and be a part of a team. So we worked on a lot of just basic fundamental skills, listening skills, and then just really pushing them to know and understand about trying new things out. The young men did their community service out at Dignity Village, us helping out and volunteering at the animal shelter up here. It's our way of giving back to the community and showing the kids that this is how we give back. It was my first time actually holding a cat today. So we're exposing the young kids to just doing something new, trying something different. I think the big trip this year, instead of going to Aquatica, we're going to try out Wild Adventures, which is in Valdosta, Georgia. It's a combo of a water park and roller coaster park. We'll be going out to the beach, having some fun and grilling out. We have a family day planned. This entire summer is just full of some fun, but also some life skills. We'll be doing some social etiquette, dating skills, and we're changing it up. In previous years, we've done mock interviews where we were prepared to get these kids prepared to do interviews for a job. This year, we changed it up a little bit. Since these kids are younger, we're gonna actually have them mimic the show Shark Tank. So they're gonna present us with their brand. Who are they, what's their brand? In the interview, they're gonna be asked questions about, why should we invest in your brand? Which is, their brand is themselves. One of our main important events this year is gonna be our parent-youth dialogue. So we put a spin on our police youth dialogues that we do once a month, where we gather a group of 12 kids and 12 officers to sit and have a conversation and a dialogue. And this year we're gonna change it out with some parents, because what we noticed with this age group is that, there's a breakdown of communication and a breakdown in the bond between middle school age kids and their parents. So we want to help with that and just see if we can just open up a good conversation and allow the kids to express some of their feelings, and allow the parents to see that, you're not alone, you have support, because it honestly and truly does take a village to raise a child. This is our way of providing fun, safe environment. We're helping our community, we're helping out parents, and these kids are, staying out of trouble, and they have something to look forward to. They're calling us and texting us in the morning, when are you picking us up? When are you coming to pick us up? So, and that's a good thing. We're putting some responsibility on them as well. How we came into contact with a lot of these kids were through either school resource officers who referred them to us, parents calling in to us, DJJ, the Florida Juvenile Department, and then some of us just having relationships through our gang unit and us reaching out through our Youth and Services Community Bureau to different kids at different schools. Even from the schools, a lot of the deans participated and referring some youth to us that they felt that would need our attention and us helping them make decisions to stay on the right path. So if someone wanted to refer a kid to us, we're always open to accepting and meeting new kids and accepting them into the program. Unfortunately, we do have a cap, a number that we have to stay at. But if they wanted to get their child plugged in, you can easily just contact the Gainesville Police Department and ask for myself, Corporal Brown, Lieutenant Mazuka, or Officer Cook. Together we make up the gang unit. Our main thing that we need is more people, more volunteers, more dedicated and committed mentors and coaches and adults that wouldn't mind volunteering their time to come out, spend some time with the kids, visit them at their schools, pick them up, drop them off, and really be in their lives. If you'd like to just donate or have us come out and put you on our schedule to give these kids greater exposure to more activities, please contact the Gainesville Police Department. We'll be more than happy. Really take advantage of those opportunities. So the greatest reward of doing a program like this during the summer and spending time with our youth in this community is the relationships that we build. These relationships results in, these kids want to be with us, they want to be around us. And, I had one kid tell us that when they see us show up at their school, it just brightens up their entire day. They love our expectations of them, and they don't want to disappoint us. So they try their best, they try their hardest. It's not to say that every kid turns out perfect after participating in this program. In fact, they will mess up, they will make mistakes because they're kids, and that's just life. But one of the things is that we're able to go back, still talk to them, and they respect us, and they have a new outlook and perspective towards law enforcement. So, some of the kids, all they've seen all their lives are bad interactions with a lot of law enforcement officers because of the neighborhoods they live in or because of home and family issues, and they never get to see a cop reach back and say, hey, let's just hang out.
That was good, man. You was brave, man. You put your hands up and all. That was good.
When we're with the kids, we dress like them, jeans and a shirt, and it makes them feel comfortable, like, okay, these cops are human. They're not just superheroes. But then to some kids, it's almost like we're saving them. We're saving them from, their neighborhoods, their lifestyles. It gives them something to look forward to, a sense of hope.
The program is still ongoing and a graduation ceremony is scheduled for later in July. We hope to keep the program going annually. After a quick break, we'll tell you about a recent operation involving gas pump credit card skimmers. Gainesville PD on duty. We'll be right back.
I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. With no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately, without fear or favor, malice or ill will, and never employing unnecessary force.
Welcome back to Gainesville PD on duty. As technology advances, our lives become more convenient. One of those conveniences is the ability to pay at the gas pump with a credit card. Sometimes this convenience will cost you. Thieves are getting smarter and using advanced technology to steal your credit card information at the pumps. Our detectives recently paired up with Department of Agriculture agents to proactively seek out these skimmers.
My name is Detective Matt Geckel, and I work in digital forensics here at the Gainesville Police Department. Prior to that, I worked in fraud and financial crimes. Gas pump skimming started probably back in 2011, and it ebbs and flows, but we've seen it's starting to get big again, and it's so hard to detect because there's nothing on the outside that would indicate the presence of a skimmer, and so we have hundreds of people that are being victimized every year by these skimmers, and we're talking, hundreds of thousands of dollars are being stolen, and so it's very important for us to stay on top of it and to prevent that from occurring. From the outside of a pump, there may not be any real indication that anything's been put in there. My recommendation would be to if you do need to fill up with gas and use your credit card, to stay towards the pumps that are closer to the building, where the surveillance cameras have a better shot. In my experience, the skimmers are typically placed as far away as possible to provide some sort of cover or quote-unquote protection for the bad guys. We've not come across any skimmers on the insides. I think it would be hard for that to occur. The clerks, these convenience stores always have somebody inside, so for somebody to be able to surreptitiously place any kind of skimming device inside the store would be near impossible. We recently conducted an operation with the State Department of Agriculture called Operation Clean Sweep, and what we were doing, we were traveling around pretty much to all the gas stations in the city and some outside the city limits, but still within our county, and checking every pump for gas pump skimmers. There's a lot of planning involved. We had to, coordinate with the agriculture guys. They actually had to have a few come in from out of town to be able to travel with us to these different pumps, and for them, it's a lot of making sure that they have the right equipment that they need to access all of these different pumps, which are keyed differently and have different locking mechanisms. And then for us, we had to come up with this list of all the gas stations in the city, and then try to figure out really the best way to attack that, efficiently. Tagging along with the agriculture guys was actually a really good experience. It allowed us a chance to get to the inside of the pumps, see what they were supposed to look like, and in at least one case what it does look like when there's a skimmer attached. And we also learned a little bit of, some artifacts that might be left behind if a skimmer had been attached and then removed. So overall, it was a very good experience for us. It's a lot of fraud and financial crimes investigations take place at a desk, take place poring over, bank records and things like that. And so for us to be able to get out and really see, what we're dealing with these skimmers and everything, I would say it's very helpful for us for future investigations. The gentlemen with the Department of Agriculture were, I thought very excited to work with us as well. They were very helpful, very motivated, ready to go, and at no point did they show any signs of slowing down. I think they care about this issue just as much as we do. We did find a skimmer actually at one of the gas pumps on Waldo Road. Once the skimmer is located, we have to shut that entire pump down, which really consists of two pumps, one on each side. The pump itself and the interior components of the pumps will be dusted for fingerprints initially. The skimmer will be brought back, and our forensic crime investigators will actually do a more thorough processing of the skimmer to try to recover any fingerprints from the inside or outside of it. And then we'll do a digital forensic exam on the skimmer itself to try to recover what information it may have already collected, or anything that might lead us to the people that were responsible for placing the skimmer in the first place. They kept up with technology just like everything else, and the most recent ones we've been seeing are actually Bluetooth capable, so it's no longer necessary for a person to place the skimmer and then wait a few days and then come back and make a risk of removing the skimmer. They can actually just pull up right next to the pump, connect to it wirelessly, and download all the information from it. The bad guys are definitely stepping up their game every chance they get, because when we catch them, and we typically always do, they obviously realize what it is they did wrong, and then they take steps to correct that for the next time to try to make it more of a challenge for us. And so, it's almost like a game of cat and mouse, and they try to get smarter, but we're always right there with them. We also meet with the owner of the station, if they're there, and in which case this person was, and we kind of go over some suggestions and tips to help avoid this from occurring in the future. Most of the stations are pretty good about proactively checking their pumps, and will let us know if they find something, so we've been very fortunate in that regard. The stores need to be proactive because ultimately it's bad for business. These skimmers, especially with the public record laws in Florida, everybody's going to know when a skimmer gets located, and if any one particular business or franchise, starts having an issue with skimmers and it hits the news, it could impact their business. So it's more likely to see them on a major roadway such as 441 or I-75, the gas pumps that are near there. It's not to say that it's impossible that it's going to happen, in the inner city. Unfortunately, there is nothing on the outside that's going to tell you which pumps do this and don't. So it is becoming more commonplace, though. The gas pump companies themselves are taking steps to protect themselves, and they've upped their game as far as encryption and things like that. So it actually is getting harder for these bad guys to put the skimmers on, because some of them won't accept them at all, and if anything gets tampered with, the whole pump will just shut down. If you happen to see somebody inside a pump, especially if they don't look like they belong there, go ahead and call 911. Try to get as much information as you can. If you can get a tag, a direction of travel. Obviously, we don't, recommend that you try to take any action yourself. You can be a good witness for us. That would be very helpful. Realistically, there's, with regards to skimmers and identity theft and everything in general, there's no perfect fail-safe way to 100% not get compromised unless you want to live the most inconvenient life possible, which would entail taking all of your money out of your bank and only using cash anywhere ever for the rest of your life, which we know is impossible. So really it's a matter of deciding how inconvenienced do you want to be. The banks are typically pretty good about protecting their consumers. There's still a hassle that you have to go through to have that protection come into place and to get that money back if it is skimmed or stolen. But unfortunately, it's a consumer decision on the risks that you want to take. The best thing is to be aware of them. You can go to annualcreditreport.com. That is the government-sponsored site to check your credit for free. You can do it once a year, or you can actually spread it out among the 3 major credit bureaus. And so really you can get a credit report 3 times a year. So keep an eye on that, keep an eye on your bank accounts, keep an eye on your credit card statements. That's the best way you can protect yourself, so you can be ready to take action if you need to.
I'm glad that our efforts resulted in a skimmer being located. That operation was a very long day, but we do operations like that to help you and your money stay safe. Unfortunately, there is no easy way to tell from the outside of a pump if a skimmer is present or not. So please remember to constantly monitor your bank information. And that wraps up this episode of Gainesville PD On Duty. Be sure to find us online on social media or by visiting our website at gainesvillepd.org. You can learn more about the Gainesville Police Department and even watch previous episodes. Please reach out to us and let us know what you'd like to see featured in future episodes. We have aired viewer suggestions in the past, and we'll be glad to do it again. As we get into these hot summer months, please remember to double check your vehicles for pets and children. We don't want anyone distracted and forgetting something very important in that hot car. Also, if you see a child or a pet in a hot car, call 911 immediately. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next time for another episode of Gainesville PD On Duty.
I recognize the badge of my office as a symbol of public faith, and I accept it as public trust to be held, so long as I am true to the ethics of the police service. I will constantly strive to achieve these objectives and ideals, dedicating myself before God to my chosen profession, law enforcement.
Brrrr.